number 2, Linderong, still in the top lane. No sign of Shy. So we'll see how they want to approach this one. There's so much that MVP have shown as far as what champions they can play to a T.
I think you ban Jhin on blue side if you're MVP. I don't think you necessarily need to first pick it, but it's an outside option. First picking Varus might be an opportunity you're left open with, although Tigers may ban the Varus and give you over something like a Rengar. Yeah, that is the one white whale available for the ROX Tigers in terms of win rates. They have been very prolific with the Jhin.
Zyra, Jace, so MVP, just going to keep things simple and to the point. Camille banned away. Wasn't sure if we would see any shenanigans from the side of the ROX Tigers. Of course, so that Camille being handed over to ADD, he'd be quite comfortable with that. Used it in both games to take down KT Rolster.
Yeah, Smep tried the laning matchup with the Renekton and also the teamfight matchup with the Rumble, and neither of which found much success. Final ban onto the Malzahar. Do Tigers ban away Varus, Rengar, or something else? That's kind of the question left open to them.
Even if the Rengar is up, does Beyond go ahead and take that? You would think that the answer is yes, given how Songwon had played it.
If you ban neither, I think they might take Varus over the Rengar and let Beyond go back on the Elise again. That's why I wonder if you just ban neither. Ban the Varus, okay. So Rengar is the prized pick that's available. Kha'Zix certainly could be there. I don't think you need to pick it at first pick, ADD. Now that your sign has made it through, I think Rengar is just fine.
Yep, that will be the snatch up here. ADD just reminding his opponents that the Scion,
the mind games never end.
Ever near. That, hey, you know, you might want to ban this away if it makes it through to the last round of picks.
So getting that Jhin is the prize that ROX Tigers now finally have. They've been denied it so frequently. Very good win rate, 4-1 on the season for Songyun, the 180 carry he's performed on, and you get the Kha'Zix, which is a very much a skill matchup between these two. You don't feel too hard done by so far if you're the ROX Tigers.
Songwon, he did a good job, like, you know, paying those early visits to ADD on the Renekton in the top lane in game 1, but then he just kept tried to force a dive, just didn't work out, and really early draft on the Syndra for Ian in the mid lane. Just wants to make sure that they're able to snatch that up. Now a Huffer for the Rammus, that would be a new one, as well as the Nasus for the top lane.
Do they start to style? Because sure, they're 1-0 up against a team they should beat, but it's getting too cute, which hasn't happened so far. Maha needs a reaction to the Jhin, but doesn't necessarily have to draft it now.
Okay, so we'll take the Thresh.
Max already played that twice this season. Speaking of 2 picks, Beyond has played 2 games of Rengar as well. The Rengar is undefeated, so one of the few champions that Beyond's level performance hasn't struggled on. We've seen some carry Thresh performances, but actually from the likes of Key, who had a really good game on it. Not that Max has been a huge slouch either. So Syndra very, very early now. 6-0, 5-0, sorry, on the season for the Syndra. For Ian, could consider banning out something like the Corki, which is one of the favorite lane matchups against that Syndra. Speaking of bans, they flashed the Caitlyn. So will Tigers try to focus on the AD carry pull or top? Seems to be answering that now. If they're banning out Shen Sion could be the bans from ROX Tigers. Even though Sion vs Maokai is just a pure tank matchup.
Meanwhile, MVP, they want to go ahead and just kind of tighten up on that support pool that's there for Key.
They'll start to suggest something like an Astroth when you see Tom Kench banned away.
There we go. Sion is the follow-up.
You just don't get enough scrim or solo queue practice against Sion that I understand why teams ban it. Echo. So Mickey had a really good Echo game, so he's a safe mid. He's the sort of pick you can take right now as the first pick on the red side, and does quite well into the Syndra, even if it's a bit of a sustaining matchup rather than necessarily a winning one. That worked for Longzhu in their game against Faker Syndra. So support and the mid lane being looked for. Leading with the Karma would give some wave pushing for the Jhin, so job done there in that pick. Now we're looking for that AD carry and also the top lane for the side of MVP. ADD's been targeted a little bit this time out.
Okay, Thresh. We find bottom lane that they could bring through lots of harass. It looks like they might just, yeah, they lock this in. They will pass over the Ashe.
So when he doesn't get Camille or Sion, it's been a bit more struggles for ADD. Might just go meta, lock in the Nautilus.
They could do that, or he could go back to the Renekton. Has the same exact matchup when it comes to top and jungle. That would be visiting him in the lane, but it will be the Nautilus.
Jungler, it pays a lot less attention when you're a Rengar for pre-6 ganks, so less pressure to pay off in the early game, like Elise could have potentially done in game 1, even though that didn't happen. So I don't mind just going Nautilus and having a bit of early game power over the Maokai. And Corki's the obvious draft to take into the Syndra. So in this matchup multiple times this season when we have seen Syndra on the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, Mickey, he's been ready with the exhaust flash since we entered the pick ban phase, so it seems like he had his heart set on this one. So, with the really early pickup on the Syndra last pick, Corki not going to be seeing that Zed come out, unfortunately.
A lot of pick on the side of MVP. So many lanes for Beyond to gank on the Rengar. Top lane Nautilus, mid lane Syndra, Thresh to assist him in the bot lane as well. So jungle's paradise for the Were-Kitty on the side of MVP, looking to go 3-0 on that pick and have another headache for teams to have to ban out. ROX have a pretty solid draft in their own way. Both these teams actually stronger setting up for sieges, but there is engage on both sides as well. So similar team comps for both teams. Stringiest matchup is the mid lane, so we can see if Rengar and Kha'Zix can help dictate which way the Syndra versus Corki matchup goes. Feels like over time, Corki has the more natural itemization to get through the lane, Hexdrinker into, at some point, the more Malmortius. But we saw yesterday that Syndra gets ahead, can just be another potential kill for Ian. And again, who's to question is Syndra, 5-0 this season.
Yeah, he's been looking so good on it, so looking to tack another win, a 6th win onto the board with that Syndra. We'll see if he's
such an
able to do
unlikely jump up the standings. 3rd place for MVP, 8 matches in. That's definitely, given how much they struggled right at the start, really good territory for them.
Yeah, something that you would not have expected from these guys. Maybe even after their climb from last year, 3rd place is still exceeding expectations, but the round is not over yet. But for now, we have to go ahead and find out what the conclusion of this 2nd match is going to be as we go ahead and jump onto the Rift, see if MVP can close us out with a 2-0 or if ROX Tigers will take us to a Game 3. All right, ROX looking to do something a bit cheeky here.
This has been the party bush, Achilles.
It indeed has been. ADD starting to walk up.
It's like I watch the VODs. I know what happens around here. No Gragas to jump over.
Yeah. Don't want to check the brush with a dredge line, so you're like, maybe I'll hook somebody.
I mean, Thresh can do that. A lot
Oh
more
god, it was a
non-committal.
mistake.
Blitzcrank
Yeah, that's true.
also. We were hoping for Max to play the Blitzcrank. It's the one he's been playing in solo queue that he hasn't brought out onto the Rift just yet.
It's not ready yet. It needs more work.
I miss Blitzcrank.
Where's my Blitzcrank buffs, huh?
Unfortunately, Bronze and Silver send their regards. None of those allowed. Whenever Blitzcrank is a viable pick, he's oppressive in the lower ranks. He has Zinjao syndrome going on there.
Sad days.
He's not awful, but definitely not great.
I'm trying to think of the last time that I really saw Blitzcrank played.
We did.
We
the
saw
Callista Blitz.
There we go. Yeah, you're right.
Summer season.
Yeah.
Wait, spring season, I think, actually, of last year.
You are correct, sir.
That was one to forget.
And there's that one time that Aframu tried playing it. If I recall correctly, I don't think it went very well last year, 2 years ago. Oh, that might have been 2 years ago now.
Was a time when you could run double hook bot lanes, actually, when CLG was in Korea. Way back when, they ran the Blitzcrank Alistair lane. Chauster and, I think it was probably double lift at the time. I hazard a guess this is a long, long time ago, of course. Leona Jarvan also a thing of the past. There's kill lanes. And speaking of kill lanes.
Mickey, falcing forward. He had not yet level 2, so no fear of getting stunned up. Ian just trying to prep the wave here. Can knock out these minions and keep up in CS. Looks like he will be successful in his endeavor. Beyond currently around the bottom side of the map. He'll just sweep right through the jungle, goes for his first back.
Quieter than maybe expected, apart from Mickey running wild in mid lane. Don't necessarily expect there to be no skill in Q levels 1 or 2, but you go for E level 1 because it procs Thunderlords so easily, and then W for that surprise trade.
See how ADD is going to manage this. He's only played the Nautilus once so far this split. It was in their first matchup against BBQ in Game 2, and that was one of the ones that they lost. Granted, it was against a Jace, not against an Maokai. Yeah, Songwon coming forward onto Ian, flashes away, the exhaust comes through, he's already locked up.
Ghosting though as well.
Yep, but not going to be able to lock him down. Mickey could have maybe flashed forward.
That was the right direction for Ian to flash. Because he had Ghost, yeah, another summoner spell would have died, but open up enough space. That was the maximum space he could open up from the oncoming Corki and Kha'Zix. Speaking of Kha'Zix, he's feeling frisky.
Nope, there's nothing here. I guess I'll go back then.
It's notable for him to ping that camp, though, because it gives a lot of information about the pathing from Rengar. So that's why he pinged it out.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get much, I guess, from Mickey's ward into the red pit. So, seeing that the Krugs are gone does tell them quite a bit, but now Beyond
does expend a control ward, which
it's in a pretty conspicuous spot, too.
Oh, it'll definitely get pathed over. I guess he just didn't want to be spotted out and counter-ganked. That's why he put it down, but a big investment for that one camp.
Let's see. How does he want to approach this one? Does have a level up currently over Songwon. There's no flash on the Kha'Zix.
There's no kill pressure from this far away. He needs the Nautilus to come over. And that would be pretty obvious. Nothing for him to venture towards right that time.
He'll just keep going through. Has had quite a good clear so far. 25-17. Songwon was fishing for that, but of course Beyond, he just wants to power farm up to level 6, get that thrill of the hunt, and then start trying to influence these lanes. So there we go. Control ward does get spotted, does get cleared.
In case you've been missing the games this week, we are in a Boots AD carry meta. Not 100% of the time. There are some Doran Blades. Just interesting that
longswords.
For once we're seeing 3 options. Longsword, Boots, and also the hook comes through.
For the Song Yu, trap comes
That's
down,
a
takes
lot
of
of damage.
Oh, 90 caliber net, clips the minion. Not able to get onto the Jhin, wouldn't have been a kill, but still would have been a lot of damage.
Might have been double summoner, which would have been an advantage in its own way.
Certainly would have been a force out of lane, but he still got those biscuits to nom up on to keep him safe for now, so we'll be able to stick around.
Boots 4 biscuits is insane amount of regen for the duo lane. A lot of trading is why Longsword and thus Boots have come in.
Oh, look at this though, Ian. Starting to really oppress this Corki, just landing these spheres time and time again.
One thing I want people to take away though, because we might see these Boots in EU today and then into the NA LCS that he plays with fire, is that speaking to most Korean supports, they say it's almost exclusively a Jhin thing to be able to go Boots because he loses lane anyway. The extra biscuit helps him stay in lane, maybe be the last one to push in and back, so get the back advantage because he's not going to win straight up trades early or wave pushing trades, whether he goes Longsword or the Doran Blade. Maha's the one player who, irrespective of champion, on Caitlyn, on Kog'Maw, and on Jhin, has gone for the Boots 4 biscuit start, so he's the one who digresses away from it being a Jhin-only buy.
Never thought that Maha would really be the one setting the new trends on these different champions, but he's really stepped up his performance compared to Summer.
Went for that Ginsu Rageblade Kog'Maw earlier this week. Definitely can understand the power of that build with the unhit nature. Oh. The Phantom hit being the double max HP damage.
Winterong stopped his back.
He's not high health either. His ult is up, so he will have some damage reduction. He's calling Songwon, very much needed.
Beyond still sitting in the brush. Mickey's starting to roam up from mid lane as well. Beyond's going to find the Kha'Zix. Meanwhile, bottom lane, flash forward, one more hit. There we go. Maha comes up with the first blood as Key goes down. Max low on HP, but still able to make it out safely. Might have to get a replay to see exactly how this one transpired, but I think we can take a guess. Both summoner spells used by Max.
He was desperately, though. Actually required a heal to stay alive, I believe. Right at the end of that trade. Still first blood over to MVP. Does the snowball in bottom.
Yeah, fast track that Caitlyn. Get a BF sword in very early on, so.
Fast track, I think, is a bit of a misnomer given how slow the build is. I'm going to say inside track to
inside track,
the expensive build. Well, this time he hit everything.
Yeah.
So that previous kill that almost came through.
The synchronized flashing. Yeah, he'll.
Oh. That minion would have killed him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in mid, flash forward beyond, trying to get on top of Mickey. That was a bit hopeful.
He flashed and then appeared not to get the leap. Was a bit strange. Or the leap shorted him. It was kind of hard to tell. But regardless, no kill observed in mid. Lane does get better for Linderung with purchases.
It's already doing quite a bit of damage. You can see that Maelstrom pop.
It's why you saw the playstyle from Beyond. When you have the Nautilus, who will have the pushing advantage early, your main objective is to push and roam with your jungler, because if you just happy farm, trade and top, you will get outscaled on the Nautilus.
ADD needs to pay a visit to the honey fruit. Get healed back up. Doesn't want to have to use all those corrupting potion charges and recall yet again. The TP's not quite there for either of these top laners. Control ward thrown down.
Going around bottom, but no throw of the hunt for now. Still do have the lantern, so outside chance you can make something happen.
I feel like you might need the flash to go for that play unless Sung Yoon really mispositions.
Either flash on the Thresh or the throw of the hunt seems to be the minimum requirement. First package of the game picked up by Corky.
Let's see if it's going to be a party package.
You just want to party tonight, don't you, Achilles? We don't have work tomorrow.
I mean, Mickey wants the party.
We don't have work tomorrow. Could be a party night.
That's true. Instead, well, we'll start things off with some nice kamjatang, which is a potato pork rib soup.
Tasty soup. That's what we're going to have.
Quite delicious.
Party comes later.
The party could follow the potato soup. Only the most hardcore partiers start their night with potato soup.
It's a very Korean story you told there. The coolest Korean story we've had in a while.
I'm sure there's a lot of Korean stories that started with kamjatang and then ended with blackouts and the hangover-esque stories.
I'm thinking of that Killers song with new lyrics now to suit Korea. Mr. Brightside, Korea version.
Your favorite at Noribon. Songwon, he goes low. Whoa. There we go. Unleashed power enough to take him down. Mountain Drake also picked up by MVP. Now Ian and Beyond in a bit of a rough spot. That's going to be the Dark Passage. Ian, he'll zip his way away from Linderung, and Mickey helps come up with a kill onto Key, but they do trade Beyond's life. But overall, you got to be quite happy about that one if you're MVP. 2 kills and a Mountain Drake.
Yeah, 2 for 1. Feels pretty good for MVP, and they take the Drake, like you mentioned. Nautilus fishing for something on the back end, but Corky not overextending in mid. They also envision. Very conspicuous Nautilus at the best of times.
That's just it's the BM recall. Yeah, I know you see me. You're not gonna do anything.
Alpha
about this.
recall. I like to think of it. English is hard.
It is.
Let's go back to Korean.
안녕하세요.
네.
All right, we're good. We did it.
We're fluent.
We used our dictionary.
It's not often that you feel like a Syndra does more damage, because if you play solo queue, Syndra always seems to kill you when she walks up, but we saw more and more of the Syndras recently not get the snowball in lane and not quite have enough damage. Because the difference between 10% HP and Assassination is massive when Syndra, who only really provides damage on the Rift. Beyond goes up, and that, of course, seals his fate, but it is a 2 for 1 overall as they catch Karma in transition. Stun will hit onto Mickey.
Yep. Oh, moves just out of range. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Ian just seems like he always excels on this pick. Always gets a snowball in lane.
Apt with the skin he's using.
Glad you caught on to that. I was like, I could finish this joke, or I could let you pick it up and it'd be less cringy.
You know, it was still pretty damn cringy, Achilles.
Almost as cringy as us speaking Korean.
You know? We're fluent, what can I say? Well, MVP having a pretty happy time once again. Gold lead not out of order yet. Beyond had a pretty good start farming-wise, but not the kill involvement he'd be looking for on that Rengar.
Yeah.
Bot lane has been the happiest place. 2v2, they've dominated Sangyun and Key, which, given Maha's lower reputation in terms of AD carries, is pretty worrying for ROX.
Yeah, 2-0 start for him is excellent, and up in CS as well. It's
I mean,
a
the
very
turret,
slight lead, but
the turret HP is
just
also super low. So in every way, 2 kills, 16 CS shots, not 50, but it's still 16. And the turret HP, you can't have everything. You can't have 50 CS kills and the turret HP, because that's just madness. If you're pushing in the turret to get turret damage, you're trading CS more often than not to do that. So to have more than a 10 lead and also take the turret at 13 minutes, this is about as big a 2v2 win. Remember, this wasn't ganks, this was 2v2. They basically crushed the bot lane from ROX Tigers.
Yep. And that turret does go down, so a big boost in their gold does come through.
Say what you will about Sangyun and Snowflower on the Freak of Freaks, they didn't often get crushed in lane. They often had pretty even laning phases, and that's kind of the worry, is that with 4 out of 5 being a Freak of Freaks members and a Freak of Freaks team that finished 5th in spring and summer, for them to plummet this quickly either says a lot about what Ixu and Lyra brought the team, or a lot about how much the league has improved. I'm actually inclined to believe the latter, but still, the struggles of this new ROX Tigers lineup are clear for all to see.
I mean, you never would really expect that. Essentially, if Freak of Freaks would get, you know, beaten by in the standings by BBQ, by
we couldn't know about BBQ. That was one where I think we were correct in rating them lowly, and then they've been very surprisingly strong.
Well, I'm just saying because they were, you know, ESC ever formerly.
Sure.
So it's just been rough times overall for a lot of these teams that seem promising. Kongdu especially. But now ROX find themselves in a similar boat as does Janair.
Sangyun also feels threatened enough to rush Edge of the Night, which, sure, is going to mean the curtain call, but it's less lethality.
Oh, hook in onto Key. That's going to be the Dark Passage coming down. That's
they messed that up about as much as possible.
Yeah, that wasn't quite peanut levels of messing up a blast cone, but it was still pretty bad.
A little of backup here for Max. It doesn't have the Dark Passage yet, though.
TP comes through from Linderong. TP going to be matched by ADD, can play away. Max does go low. Curtain call opened up. Going to be trading blows. ADD tries to get into the front line. Mickey coming around from the side. Jumps onto Ian. Helps come up with the kill.
Beyond
picks it up. Beyond now coming in from the back.
So low!
So many people in ROX Tigers going low. Big Q coming through from the Caitlyn. Takes down 2. A double kill over for Maha. And it's just going to be Linderong left. He goes back in. And he will fall. Sangyun alone in top. Everybody on ROX Tigers went low in that fight. Ends up dying. And MVP, their lead just continues to pour forth.
And it's a 5-0 Caitlyn as well with that triple kill in the fight. The early Hurricane, BF sword on the top as well. So much power. Caitlyn is never this strong at 15 minutes into the game in the current meta. But it's only going to get worse. That Infinity Edge Hurricane could be hilariously early. Pre-20 minutes for Boots 2 and that core would be obscene. But we've seen some obscenities already in this particular series. Not from the casters, but there's still time for that.
I'm sure ROX are feeling that way. So, I mean, this was really aggressive
They
by
knew
ROX.
that Thresh and Syndra were already in the jungle. Sure, it was outnumbered to some degree. No Beyond yet. Single kill comes in, but Beyond can jump in, start to get them low, and then the health bars are blinking Achilles. And watch these Hurricane bolts. It doesn't matter that it's low AD values. Maha's putting out insane damage this early.
Yeah, Q came after. I thought that he had taken them out with a Piltover Peacemaker, but Hurricane just doing work. Maha having a whale of a time on that Caitlyn. Mickey, you can see he's thinking about it. He's actually going to go in. Interrupts the recall here for ADD. He gets that big shield coming through, but 3 members arrive, and he goes down. So this time, the Alpha recall doesn't pay off.
Well, the Alpha build is done for Maha. At 15 minutes 59, he has everything. So everyone is squishy. There is no armor items created outside of a Ninja Tabi on the side of ROX Tigers. So delete Maha or lose a team fight. Looks like it's going to be the new reality. I think MVP should just fight 4v5, to be honest. You don't say that very often, but Maha is obscenely strong.
But they don't go in. They will just hand over this Infernal Drake. So Infernal for ROX. Mountain for MVP. Mickey gets stunned up. It's a bit of damage from that ace in the hole, but not going to be a whole lot yet.
Level 1 and quite a lot of money spent on attack speed means that the ace in the hole will not be doing too much damage yet. But why not go pick up a Rift Herald? You are 5,000 gold ahead at 17 minutes.
Yep.
Probably give it to Beyond as a melee champion. Gets the most value out of it.
Seems like that will be the handoff. There we go. So Rift Herald goes over.
I would remind it onto Nautilus, but Nautilus on the other side of the map, just to help him in the now losing trades with a Maokai in a side lane.
Max pushing forward, doesn't even throw out the hook.
I like what he did there. He did the stop command, so it looks like it's going to be a hook, but didn't send one out anyway. Didn't need to.
Going back in, MVP are able to take down that tier 1 turret.
Pressure spilling over from other lanes, specifically from the AD carry, who is immensely strong. It is a Caitlyn who, with the Syndra also having a good start to the game, you just have the Syndra walk up, fish for a hook, or fish for a stun. Caitlyn will just do the rest of the work. Beyond is ulted, spotted out by the control ward.
Running around looking for this red buff.
I'll take that.
Yep, will just get snatched up by Ian. See, the damage from the big ones is still pretty significant as Ian gets chunked down.
Haven't been able to put down the vision to make sieging onto inner turrets something safe. No Drake to fight over either, so a recall and then another invasion mission probably going to come out from the MVP roster. More farm funnel on to Maha as well.
Let's see where they want to go from here.
Well, this is doing nothing, so I think stopping the side lane war between Nautilus and Maokai probably should be a priority for MVP. No kill pressure on either, predictably, but not getting a pushing advantage either for the Nautilus.
Max is roaming his way down. Got to try some vision control here. Meanwhile, Ian throws out the ultimate on the Mickey. Goes quite low, but will be able to recall with his life.
You might be wondering why we see more Liandry's than you'd expect. We've seen 3 Liandry's games with Elise also rushing Liandry's very recently. I think what people have realized that with the gold reduction on Liandry's, it actually, in almost every case, is more efficient and does more damage than Luden's. Also doesn't fall off as much as Luden's as magic-resistant health purchases come out, as health is very good against magic damage always. But you got the proc damage as they really want to catch Maha.
Maha takes the Dark Passage out to safety, and suddenly Songyun doesn't have any range on those shots. So won't be able to come up with the kill. That was a bit of a rough spot there for Maha, but only lost the kill. Now Thrill the Hunt coming through. ADD in the base, maybe looking for a TP. Has a couple places that he could go to.
Here it comes.
Beyond jumps in, Tether comes down, won't quite connect onto him, but now the TP's coming through, Mickey down to half HP, ADD. Can sprint his way in, but gets stopped up by Linderong immediately. Can he line up the dredge line? Just gonna fall short of finding Key.
It was a TP just to start a fight. No real objective to fight around, barring starting Baron. Minute 45 for the next Drake and Infernal.
Could just push up and move, try to get some damage in onto that tier 2, but it's still so risky. And you have to think ill-advised. Max pushing forward, trying to line up a hook, but won't see a window of opportunity. MVP gonna rotate up towards that top side of the map, it would seem.
Yeah, window opened for ROX Tigers to split push. Linderung has the teleport advantage, so at least won't have 3 lanes pushing their way. May, if there's a stalemate, be able to take out the outer bot lane turret to pick up the first of the game for Tigers. Stalemate unlikely with how strong Maha is, both as a champion and gold values, although Maha with 2,400 or 2,300 in the inventory will back for now.
3,400 gold ahead of Songyun right now. That is just... it's bad. It's really bad.
It is obscene in many different ways. Doesn't have any lifesteal, so can be poked out of a fight. That's the one hope.
I mean, Mickey's got plenty of poke.
And Warlord's Bloodlust is just not going to have a lot of value on the minions, so a Vamp Scepter instead of the pickaxe would have been, I think, a little bit stronger an option, but you don't really think about getting poked out or defensive options when you're this far ahead. Can just go for more damage and trust your front line.
Well, that's how things can start slipping up. Oh,
speaking
like that. Yeah, Ian doesn't have the damage to take out the blue buff.
Throws it over to the smite of the Kha'Zix.
There you go. I'll handicap myself.
Gonna take more than a blue buff, I think.
Every little bit counts if you're the ROX Tigers. They'll take what they can get at this point. See? Rockets yet again, connecting onto Maha. Does chip him down quite a bit. So we'll have to be careful and likely invest into some lifesteal soon. But this is going to be a major objective for both sides. Double Infernal for Tigers. I give them a bit of breathing room if they could pick this up. Or as MVP, it's just another tool of destruction that they can use on the base of ROX.
No teleport this time, so no backline threat. Linderung doesn't have a dive buddy apart from Sungwon to dive with him, so he also will not be looking to teleport. Probably smart for ROX to back away. Doesn't feel good to give the Infernal over with how strong the Caitlyn and Syndra are, but...
Gonna be another one. 3 in a row. So, double Infernal for whoever nets that for themselves. MVP starting to rotate up towards this Baron. Likely just gonna be going for Vision. They go ahead, they sweep the
They can
pit.
just start at Achilles as well.
There's one ward in the back. They'll go ahead, clear that out, throw down the control, and maybe just try to bait ROX to push in. They do have a Scrying Orb on Songyun that they can toss out. Dredgeline, they'll connect right onto him. He'll get rooted down. Depth charge goes through, still rather healthy on the Jhin, but that doesn't last too long as they go ahead, they take him down. ADD coming up with a killing blow. Songwon having to leap out, flash forward beyond, going into the brush just to get straight on top of Key, able to take about 2 kills picked up for MVP, and now they can go right back over to that Baron.
That wasn't even about Maho, only threw out the ultimate, didn't get any auto attacks off because was out of range of them. Looking for another hook, will not find one. Obviously ROX still super squishy this early in the game. They turn on to Baron, max ADD and beyond can trade tank it. Maha will do the damage. Sungwon needs a miracle.
Miracle indeed. Ian likely going to be lining up for the stun to stop him from coming in. He is able to find the push back. It's actually going to be Baron, confirmed by ADT. Songwon is a bit too late, does go down in the end. Ian puts another kill on the board for himself. 2-1 and 3 on that Syndra. Now Baron for MVP. Almost 10,000 gold lead. You have to think that they're going to be able to close this one out shortly and cleanly.
Yeah, Songyun walked up when they had no vision of what was happening around Baron. They knew they were in that area, so why walk upwards in the lane? Sure, it wasn't a massive mistake, but it was a super costly, small mistake. Rest of the kills are cleaned up. It was actually quite hard, a Baron to stop the Kha'Zix from coming into, so it was very consequential that the Scatter the Meek did hit from the Syndra. I think it delayed about half a second and made the smite, or the flash over, irrelevant from Songwon. Now, what was a strong siege comp becomes an impressive one with the Baron buff as well. Even ADD can get in on the split pushing.
Yep. So, no one on the side of ROX going to try to answer him. Meanwhile, Max getting jumped on.
Okay.
Have a lot of damage on the side of ROX still, and he's a squishy Thresh. So he will go down, but now ADD TPing in right on top of everybody in the ROX Tigers. Mickey goes low as the Songyun has to flash out to safety. Ian, though, is able to take out Key. That's a 1-for-1 as both of these supports go down. Flash out from Mickey. Songyun is able to cut it back. But even so, that's going to be MVP just shifting lanes, shifting their focus, and just continuing to knock down these turrets.
Given the game, though, that was the only time they'd ever get a 1-for-1, so actually going for something before they were grouped and every lane was pushing was smart. They drew a teleport as well, so where the game was at, a 1-for-1 was the best case scenario for ROX. Will it be consequential? Probably not, but you do uphold. That was a good shot calling. It was a good shot call made in a series where they've made a lot of shot calling mistakes, so focus on that and give them something at least to smile about in the VOD review. Isn't too much of that. MVP back away. More big purchases coming up, no doubt. Double Zeal items already completed for Maha. Probably the last Whisper next. No Vamp Scepter, okay. Was hoping for a little bit earlier, but fits in the inventory now.
Yep, does pick that up, so. You can see he wasn't getting much back from those minions in the top lane after that turret went down, so Vamp Scepter definitely going to be a very intelligent investment for Maha. So far has not suffered for the lack of it. 5-0 and 3 on that Caitlyn, and a 60 CS lead that he's accrued over Songyun. So
and no rush for the last Whisper
things have been going well. You can see how much he's just poking down Songwon for.
He's getting range for the ult, does not. Don't think it would have killed Songwon either.
Oh, but the dredge line coming in locks him down. Headshot. 557 damage. That'll kill him.
Into Tabi as well, so.
Yeah, they stomped the bug. And now they're going to go catch the wave and push it right up towards this tier 2. Last inner turret for ROX Tigers. And you have to think that it'd be a pretty hopeless cost for them to try to defend this.
A 2-0-2-0 night where the favorites win. That's not been our story of our season at all.
Has not. But at this point, I guess this is outside of the norm.
Exactly.
Hook goes forward onto Linderung. advance in over to the minions to deny a Flay coming through. But MVP, they have the assault going on multiple fronts. Key gets hooked, takes a lot of damage. They chunk him down to half. See the shield not lasting for long. First inhib turret does go down. Mickey just trying to split them off, but even the package won't do a whole lot to dissuade MVP at this point. They're just so far ahead. Still have Baron shoving forward. That will be the inhibitor line broken at 28 minutes just about. What else does MVP want to do? Top wave not really prepped to rotate up. Bottom just got cleared out, so it seems like they're just going to go ahead, peel back, get ready for that dragon that's spawning in 45 seconds.
Yeah, 1,200 gold plus on 3 members means that a shopping trip won't go amiss too much. Don't think they really need to make it. Their health bars are in a good spot. Flashes were up, so and they're really forced to do. Purchase, come back, get a second Infernal, end the game seems to be the game plan required for MVP.
Seems like a pretty simple one to follow.
It's a nice time when you have 4 items on Caitlyn, the highest spiking of AD carries played in the meta right now compared to 2.5 on the side of Sangyun. The gold lead there is just disgusting, and it's not like it's 100 CS, it's 50 plus, but all the objectives, 7 turrets to 0, 6 kills to 0, 3 assists even on top of it.
I mean, when you're so desperate for items that you just have to go for the Giant Slayer instead of a Last Whisper.
Yep.
Feels awful.
All the feels for the ROX Tigers fans are bad. No happy feels.
Certainly not. MVP fans, though, it has been a great 2 match days for this squad.
4-0. And a week with KT and ROX was, I would say, would have been one of the most unlikely of possibilities.
I mean, they're on a bit of a streak right now.
6-0.
Last game was KT. Before that, Jin Air and Kongdu Monster. They were 2-1 victories.
Okay.
So not the cleanest, but still, this would be a 4th match win in a row.
And it didn't require the really, you could say, gimmicky champions. The Scion, for example, not available this series. You could argue maybe Ian shouldn't have got Syndra twice, but...
I mean, AVV showing that he can use the Renekton quite well.
Showing new picks in multiple roles.
Linderong gets hooked yet again. Big shield coming through, gets stunned up. Has to flash away. Barely gets that redemption heal to just kind of keep him right underneath 50%. The turret's not broken yet. Super Creep still pushing up in mid lane. Oh boy, Mickey
no.
Over the trap. That's going to be the depth charge. Will it kill him? Nope. Heal comes out from Sangyun, who arrives just in time to keep his mid laner alive. But that's about all he can do. As the turret falls, Songwon getting locked up, getting caught by that dredge line. Ace in the hole comes through. Not enough to kill him.
The damage.
Yeah, flashing away. Just has to get away from those headshots. Linderong won't be able to do that, though. He goes down. Second Nexus turret and top will fall, and MVP look like they can just close it out right here.
It should happen here. No front line now for ROX Tigers. Some damage, but nothing else. Nautilus can laugh at most of that damage. Choosing to back away. I guess they want to get some of their statistics up. Take all the turrets. If you remember, MVP were the team last year that had all those super close losses, all those frustrating losses, and talked about everyone flashing to end the game and things like that. So I think the tutorial victories are what they're about now, Kilios.
Yeah, it would seem that way. MVP going to go ahead and peel back, despite the fact that there's still 20 seconds left.
You're just mad because you peeled back on your suit.
I did. I put my jacket on. I was ready to go.
Well, keep that moneymaker for now. We got more time in the game.
Yep. You'd be happy if there was a fantasy LCK right now. The stats that MVP are able to put up.
I don't know how many MVP players you'd have on your fantasy LCK team.
Okay.
That wasn't a ward to teleport on at all.
That was interesting. I mean,
it's good timing, actually.
He expected that ROX was going to be going for this Baron, but I guess had to misjudged where they'd be at. Max now going to get jumped on. Flays back onto the Linderong, trying to keep himself alive.
Buying time.
On goes in, takes a bit of damage.
Oh, here comes
Big
Maha,
scatter of the week comes through. Songwon immediately going to get popped. Linderong going into the back line, but Maha just sustaining through it all. Ace of the hole connects onto Mickey. He is so low, ADD. And he led the dredge line. Doesn't matter. The sun comes through from Ian. That's going to be the ace. That's going to be the game. Super Creep already knocking down the Nexus turrets. And MVP in just under 33 minutes will close out game number 2. A 2-0 victory over the ROX Tigers, sending them into 9th and propelling themselves into third place for the moment.
Yeah, clean ace to end a clean series to end a clean couple of weeks from MVP. For them to be third this deep into the first round robin is massive for this organization. They and Kongdu Monster look like the big movers, the teams that were good last season. Would they take the next step? BBQ surprised us. Kongdu surprised us, unfortunately, in the opposite way. But MVP are finally starting to repay the faith. They finished 6th, so close to the playoffs last year. So many times Samsung were in that 6th position. Let's see if MVP can stick the landing. If their second round robin is like their first round robin, this team will play in the gauntlet for the first time.
It certainly is looking that way. I mean, MVP, we saw, all the behind-the-scenes videos that we had, how much of a fun-loving team they are. It kind of reminded you of the ROX Tigers, a lesser ROX Tigers in 2016, but now stepping up their performance, it really kind of started to bring that spirit in. So it must feel even better when you're winning all the time.
A lesser ROX Tigers.
Most of the time, I'll say.
Well, we saw our lesser ROX Tigers today, Achilles. They are also a far gone from what they were in 2016. Those are unfair expectations for ROX as an org. They were definitely the big loss in the roster shuffle. Global roster shuffle, I should say, but centered around Korea roster shuffle. This team will go to IEM. Sure, they have one more series this week, right at the end of the week. Don't know if that's going to be necessarily a big move forward for them. And to predict them to go very far in IEM would be a very risky prediction as well.
Yep. Well, rough stuff for these guys. They have to take on BBQ on Sunday at the Gangnam Studio. And BBQ has shown, improvement themselves, so even that will be quite the tough matchup for them.
If you ask me to pick a team that the ROX Tigers will comfortably beat, I can't find one, Achilles. Kongdu Monster out of form, sure, but Kongdu Monster will look better in recent times. ROX Tigers, unfortunately, starting to bottom out. One of the worst times they could.
I mean, they even lost a game against Kongdu Monster at their worst, so
sad times.
Says quite a bit.
Talented players on this roster for sure, but not gelling as a 5-man unit. Still lots of work to be done if they want to get away from the relegation spots or if they want to be able to compete over at IEM. We won't at least cast them before they go over there. But I gotta say, don't have high hopes for ROX Tigers at IEM.
It's hard to, what with the opposition coming in from Europe, Flash Wolves, as well as Kongdu Monster from Korea. So, rough schedule for these guys. Even rougher coming up. But MVP, they can rejoice. They can be quite satisfied with their victory. And Maha, good God.
You never see a 5-kill Caitlyn. She doesn't really have the tools in her kit to snowball. She's a very fiercely single target. She's about taking down turrets, not getting kills, but specifically rushing the Hurricane and finding an AoE team fight, picking up 5 kills out of nowhere. You just never see accelerated Caitlyn's.
I mean, Maha played so well, which feels great to be able to say about him, honestly, but Max as well really did help enable him. And you have to expect that this is going to be Maha. There you go, MVP. Deathless game on the Caitlyn. He'll get his second win. And just, what a performance on Caitlyn.
And it's nice to be able to have a time to celebrate a player who's got a lot of flack. He's been criticized so many times.
This is going to be another bot lane interview.
Yay, double bot lane interview for today.
As rare as it is, we get 2 of them in a row, but I mean, Max, he set up Maha for success, and then he just absolutely ran with it. So getting that first blood right off the bat really just helped launch that Caitlyn forward.
And Maha's evolution into being at least competitive with the better bot lanes in Korea going forward is what is needed for MVP to start to actually be a relevant factor in playoffs. Last year it was, well, if Maha doesn't have a bad game, MVP can do decently. He's got a lot of people leveling up. Ian, for example, a monster on the Syndra. ADD, Ed, the man of many names in the top lane, also leveling up with a lot of his picks. Beyond starting to find form on some champions as well, specifically the 2 we saw in this series, the Elise and the Rengar. So if Maha can have more performances like that, maybe the hopes can increase further and further for the MVP organization as ADD found a squishy bug and squished it himself.
I liked the slowdown on the hook as it went over the wall, just to miss wildly, but they still come up with the kill. It was a good flank from ADD. And I mean, MVP, they all played so well together here.
Yeah, good team performance. So much to like about MVP, as you mentioned. Not necessarily a team with many players that are known to Western fans, but lovable personalities there, all the same. 6-0 for that Syndra. Maha making us a believer of the Caitlyn as well. MVP on the charge, and that ranking graphic at the end of the broadcast will be music to the ears of MVP fans.
That it will. But for now, we're going to go ahead and hear from the most valuable players on the MVP roster. That's the bot lane duo. Joel, take it away with the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of the day, and we are here with the most valuable players of the team MVP, Max and Maha, for the interview. Max and Maha, congratulations on the win. How do you feel? I think it shows that, you know, with the consistent wins, that our team is improving, and that's the best part about this. Playing the Caitlyn, you cannot have had a better game. This was a situation, you know, where Caitlyn was supposed to be a split pusher, but, you know, I was fed so much that I was very surprised to get that. In the second game, you had the really good synergy with the Thresh. As soon as the Thresh got the grab, then you put the trap down. And you guys got a good synergy off of that. With the two of us, you know, we always fight with each other, but at the same time, that really helps us evolve together. But, you know, I'm always trying to support Maha the best way I can. Malzahar is another thing that we need to talk about. It's a wonderful pick that everybody approved already. But is there a specific tip that you can give with Malzahar? One thing that I was sure about when it was after I picked the Malzahar that we were going to get the win was that Key picked the Zilean, but it seemed like Key wasn't very experienced with the Zilean. And I saw that, you know, when we were trading between level 1 and level 2, that he was falling behind. We knew that we were going to win right after that. With what you were continuing about, did you know that as soon as you turn level 6 that you were going to get the win? I think this is something that you can say that because you're a very experienced Zilean player yourself. Yeah, I think it's a situation where Key needs to do a little more study on the support Zilean. And I think, you know, with Malzahar getting nerfed in the next patch, I think something to be take note of. You showed a wonderful performance with the Caitlyn, and people say that it's not the best laner ADC. But what was the confidence that came with that you played so confidently with? Yeah, I think that, you know, playing against the bot duos of ROX Tigers, I felt like they were pressured in many times, and that allowed us to be more aggressive and confident. And as soon as we hit the power spike, you know, I really ran away with the Caitlyn. And, you know, every time that exhaust went off, you know, we were able to be more aggressive going into the team fights. And we can look at a highlight video of that. And this was where ROX Tigers gave it all, trying to come back for the team fight. What was the thought process behind this? We were just really focused on getting the Corki on. And as soon as we got Corki out of the team fight, we were able to go more aggressively. And we noticed that the Caitlyn ult did not kill the Maokai at the end. And MVP is really on fire these days with consistent performances. And right now, of many of the stats that we can speak of, MVP is topping the ranks. Right now, I think we're really synergizing well, and we have very good internal communications where we all know what we are doing at the same time. And I think this is our timing to move forward and produce better results. And I think also with the Baron plays that we're also all very confident that we can get the Barons each time. And because Beyond has good smite timings also, you know, all that adds to our overall confidence that we can get the Barons each time. And I think the final reason for that is because of Beyond's ability to smite correctly. That's who should we give the most credit to. And considering the Baron calls, it's calculating is very important. I think we're more instinctual than being more calculative. I think we always need to think about, you know, can the other jungler fight for that Baron? And I think we need to be more instinctual, and that's kind of what we're doing. And as soon as we, you know, find a safe point that, you know, as long as we don't have much risk in hitting this Baron, we should be fine. Is Ian better on the Syndra than any other champions? Yeah, I think it's the difference between confidence when, you know, Ian plays the champions that he prefers and when he doesn't play the champions that he prefers. His lack of confidence really lets him underperform. But I think, you know, today was his day for sure. And ADD also plays the Sion and, you know, all these unique picks. Not many people might know this, but ADD was a Sion pro back ever since he was an amateur, so he was very good at that champion before he turned pro. What was the coaching staff adding to the team contribution? I think he wants us to play these unique picks that, you know, throws the other team off guard, and I think he really supports us in that matter. But, you know, our coach is getting worried that, you know, these off-meta picks are more frequent than it needs to be. I think we need to step it down a little bit in the upcoming games. But we're still experimenting with different picks. So you got another 2-0 victory today with a wonderful performance. Do you want to say anything to your fans that are out here and also watching from TV? I was practicing so hard that my brother got married recently and I couldn't attend his wedding because I was practicing so much. But, you know, I want to wish him the best of luck in his marriage and just wish him the best of his life. We want to thank the fans, and we want to thank all our sponsors and all the people that are related to us, always cheering us on. And we always, you know, appreciate the help that you guys give to us, and we just continue to support us in our ventures. So that's the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. So, wow, yeah, a lot of dedication being shown by these guys, and it's paid off quite well for their standings. So, brother might be upset, but the coach definitely is not MVP, coming out on top yet again, and as he said, liking those use of off-meta picks, that eclectic champion pool that all of these players here will bring to the table has really been instrumental in their success.
And it's such a team play as well. It seems like everyone's keeping each other in check. Beyond getting the mention, even if he's not getting the MVPs, you know, it was very much Beyond and the rest of the team supporting him last season. But man, when you come together as a team, a big jump in standings as well. To jump to third is a huge jump, and they could end this first round robin 6-3.
Yeah, and a really big cheer from the fans here in the audience. Very excited to see them move up. Currently tied for game score with Longzhu at +2, but have played one more game. Longzhu, of course, we will be seeing in a couple days, so they could shake up the standings a little bit more. But for now, 3 jump up for MVP. So massive victory for these guys. And ROX Tigers, they sink lower to the bottom, just +1 over Kongnu Monster.
We will see Kongnu Monster in action, but first it will be a fun one. Longzhu versus Afrika. A lot of stars in that game. Ryan Gorilla and friends taking on Marin and the Freaks. Interesting to see if Mowgli might get a start there instead of Spirit, who struggled pretty extensively. Then Kongnu Monster versus KT Rolster. If Kongnu even show a spirited loss, that would be a step up for them. Unfortunately, both teams going to IEM, not going to be coming in on much of a win streak.
Yeah, and I mean, that would help carry them to some maybe relative success at IEM, so that would be a nice little momentum train for Kongdu Monster. But then on Sunday over at the Gangnam Studio, Jin Air Green Wings versus Samsung. Samsung having a really faltering performance, and Jin Air also hovering around the bottom of the standings. Then again, we will be seeing ROX Tigers versus BBQ. So a matchup that they pretty much have to win if they want to avoid falling into that 10th place spot or even closer to it. I mean, you have to expect that KT will be beating Kongdu, so they do have that keeping their nose above the 10th place water, but it's still not much. Looks like ROX are still very much in range of relegation.
One more chance for these teams to show something for IEM, but not much more than that.
Yeah. So rough times for those guys, but great times for MVP. We'll be back on Saturday. Tomorrow's off. We'll see you then for that nice Longzhu versus Afrika game.